So we're going to do the upper extremity special testing now. So we're going to start with the shoulder, and we're going to move to the elbow, and then do a couple at the wrist and the hand. So for shoulder, we're only going to talk about 3. The first one is the Hawkins-Kennedy test. So this is looking at shoulder impingement. So when you do this test, you want to first bring them up into shoulder abduction. So you're going to shrink the capsule there, shrink the joint space there. Then take them into internal rotation, which is going to shut down the anterior portion. So you're looking for a pain response when you go through this test. But if that doesn't invoke any pain, you then want to continue to shrink the joint space. Okay. So to do that, we're then going to start to move the athlete across their body. Okay. So you don't want them turning with you as you do it. Okay. You want them to stay forward, and then we're just going to take them through all the way across until we get to that pain response. The next one is empty can test. So this is evaluating the integrity of the supraspinatus tendon, which is one of your rotator cuff tendons. So for this, we're going to have them go into shoulder abduction. Okay. Thank you for not doing that. So really important to attain a 45-degree angle at the shoulder here. Okay, this in the plane of the scapula. So that's the only way that you're going to be able to target the actual supraspinatus tendon itself and isolate it. So with this, you want them to resist your force downward, okay, because we're trying to basically get that external rotation of the shoulder here. So you're here, you're going to push down. If it's a positive sign, they're going to drop one side, they're going to be a little weaker on that side, but they're also going to have pain with that as well. Okay. Last one is Gerber liftoff. So I'm going to turn you around. This is testing the subscapularis tendon pathology. For this, you're going to have them go into internal rotation and lock their hand in the small of their back. And with this, you're looking for a lift off here. You're not looking for wrist flexion, okay? The wrist is gonna stay in line, and they're gonna do a lift off here, kind of this motion, which is the internal rotation motion at the shoulder. But we're gonna be testing it, so this is the only way to do that. And what I'm gonna do when she goes into that lift off, I'm just gonna take one finger, go ahead, and I'm just gonna resist that, okay? So I should feel her kind of pushing back at me, trying to resist my pressure back towards her back. Okay, so you can sit on the table. We're going to do a couple at the elbow. Come around here. So the first test we're going to do is a varus stress test. So this is looking at the radiocollateral ligament integrity. So I've drawn the placement of the ligament here for you. Okay, it's just on the radial aspect, or the thumb side. Okay, so for this test, you're going to try to open up this lateral joint space. So as we do that, I'm going to stabilize the humerus, and I'm also going to stabilize the forearm. So the butt of my hand is going to be up against her medial epicondyle here. So we're first going to do this test at 0 degrees, okay? And you're just trying to open up that joint space. So I'm stabilizing here, and I'm kind of pushing towards me with my left hand here. Just trying to open up that space. We're then going to have her relax. We're going to go to about 30 to 45 degrees here, and we're going to do it again, okay? Just looking for that joint space to open up. Now when I flex her elbow, there's going to be a little more joint play here, and that's not a positive sign. I'm looking more at, do I feel this ligament tugging here? Okay. On the opposite side, we're going to do what's called a valgus stress test. Very, very similar to what we just did. We're just now doing it on the medial side. So I've drawn the basic pathway of the UCL here for you. Again, same exact test, just different area of stress. So I'm going to stabilize with my left hand on the upper arm. So again, it's up against her lateral epicondyle. My right hand's going to be stabilizing her lower arm. We're going to do it at 0 degrees. Again, just trying to open up that joint space, and then again at about 30 to 45 degrees here. Just trying to open up that to target that ligament here. Another way we can test the UCL is by doing a milking sign test. So this is important to be above the athlete. You don't want to have a taller athlete standing next to you trying to do it. It's not going to work out very well. So I'm above her as high as I need to be. I'm going to bring her into 90 degrees of elbow flexion, 90 degrees of shoulder abduction. I'm going to grab her thumb. What I'm going to do, I have her elbow stabilized. I'm going to bring her back into external rotation. As I do that, I'm trying to open up this joint space here. So we're here, and you can kind of alternate the angle, because you know the UCL has multiple bundles. So depending on the angle, you're going to stimulate, you're going to isolate a different bundle there. Moving down to the wrist and hand, we're going to look at 2 tests here. First one is the Phelan's test. This is for a carpal tunnel pathology, okay, or a median nerve entrapment, okay. So to have this, I'm going to have the athlete put her palms together, so our dorsal aspects of her hands are together, and she's just going to stay in that position for about a minute, okay. And what you're looking for in this test is any type of neurological symptom coming in, okay, specifically on that median nerve root, so that C7 nerve pathway, anything on the palmar aspect of the hand. The last one we're going to do is a valgus stress test at the thumb, okay. So similar to the valgus stress test we did at the elbow already, but this test can be done at any of the interphalangeal joints, any of the metacarpophalangeal joints, any of those. So I've drawn the UCL of the thumb here for you, okay. To do this, I'm going to stabilize the metacarpal area, and then going to stabilize the phalangeal area, okay. And I'm just going to try and open up that space. Now this is a much smaller area than the elbow, so you don't have to do a ton of pressure, but again, just feeling for that tug there. So the injury that this would be correlated with is your gamekeeper's thumb injury. And that's all we're going to do for the upper extremity.